In the early days of the war, Ukraine praised the power and sophistication of the Turkish-made Bayraktar TB2 drone. In the early months of the Russian-Ukrainian war, the Turkish Bayraktar TB2 drone was hailed as the savior of Ukraine and the future of warfare. Several reports emerged from the Ukrainian side. Kyiv was said to have used the drone to attack Russian tanks, patrol ships, and a number of other defense equipment. But when viewed again, the Bayraktar TB2 drone seemed to no longer exist in the war between the two former Soviet states. Because the once valuable drones have almost entirely been shot down by the Russian military. A common assessment of drones like the TB2 is that they perform well without advanced air defense and electronic warfare arrayed against them, said Samuel Bendit, an analyst and expert on unmanned military systems and robotics at the Center for Naval Analyses. Russia has been improving very quickly because initially they lost the electronic war. Then the Kremlin began to conduct research for their electronic defense equipment. Interestingly, since then Russia managed to drop and disrupt many Ukrainian drones. Once the Russian military acted together, they were able to drop many TB2, Bendit said. Ukraine said last year it had received 50 TB2 drones since the Russian invasion began, but by the end of 2022, most had disappeared from the battlefield. Andriy Demin claimed that Russian forces had destroyed more than 100 drones in April. Now, Ukraine is mainly using TB2 for intelligence, surveillance, and reconnaissance purposes rather than to attack, Bendit said. Ukrainian forces are using advanced optical and sensor drones to guide other drones for attacks while remaining out of range of air systems. Turkish-made combat drones, Bayraktar TB2, become one of Ukraine's mainstays in attacking Russia, but there could be problems hitting the company's production drones. Ukraine claims its drones have destroyed hundreds of Russian combat vehicles. Reportedly, there are about 20 Bayraktar TB2 drones deployed Ukraine to hinder Russia. However, the superiority of Russian troops is still a problem, especially the mobility of the Russian army may still be very large in the future. Ukraine is indeed successful against the Russian army, using about 20 drones, but mainly because Russian tanks cannot move quickly in the mud. In a few weeks, as the weather changes and the ground hardens, there will be more Russian advance. They will continue to target the surface. Used Ukraine flew drones. Well, that might be a complicated thing. Is the production of drones from Turkey may not be able to meet the demand from Ukraine. Reportedly, limited supply has been a big problem since the beginning. In addition, if Russia is also increasingly preparing to face drones such as Bayraktar also has a weakness, namely precision targeting targets, but weak if it has to provide protection to the movement of Ukrainian soldiers below. Bayraktar's operational range is limited. They are controlled by stations below, not communication satellites. That is, they may be reachable by Russian artillery and Russian missiles. At this time, Russia appears to be consolidating in eastern Ukraine. If it happens, will give Russia time to launch its own drones into battle and bring anti-aircraft systems to defend itself against Ukrainian drones. Bayraktar TB2 did what it was supposed to do: stop some of the most advanced anti-aircraft systems and advanced artillery systems. An armored vehicle Selçuk Bayraktar told Reuters on the sidelines of an exhibition in Baku, Azerbaijan. He runs the Baker company in Istanbul with his brother Haluk. He said their drones have shown how technology is revolutionizing modern warfare. The whole world is now want to be customers, he added. The TB2 drone has a wingspan of 12 meters and can fly up to 25,000 feet before swooping down to destroy tanks and artillery with laser-guided armor-piercing bombs. In the war in Ukraine, it helped weaken Russia's overwhelming military superiority. Baker was founded in the 1980s by Selçuk and Haluk's father, Özdemir Bayraktar, and since 2005 began to focus on drones as Turkey seeks to strengthen its domestic defense industry. Bayraktar drones have been a concern of Russian President Vladimir Putin and the Defense Ministry since the invasion of Ukraine began on February 24. Previously, TB2 has been one of the factors in the conflicts in Syria, Iraq, Libya and Nagorno-Karabakh. The Ukrainian war is now the main driving factor for arms exports from Turkey to the rest of the world. President Tayyip Erdogan said international demand is huge for TB2 and for newer drones. Advocacy Selçuk Bayraktar, who is married to Erdogan's daughter, said Baker can produce 200 TB2 drones per year. He said he was proud that his company's drones had been used in Ukraine and in Nagorno-Karabakh, an ethnic Armenian enclave where Azerbaijani forces managed to retake most of the territory in 2020. This is an illegal invasion, so TB2 helps the honorable people of Ukraine defend their country, he said during an exhibition in Baku. The illegal occupation of Karabakh is also like a heart wound from our youth. And as engineers who develop technology, it is an honor to help our brothers here to regain their land. 2 weeks ago, Russia touted next-generation laser weapons that Moscow says can blind orbiting satellites and destroy drones, but Selçuk Bayraktar said such weapons are not effective against TB2. Their range is limited, so if your sensory and ammunition range is further away, they won't be effective, he said. Not just drones for war. The Baker company is now working on the TB3 drone, which has foldable wings and can take off or land on aircraft carriers with short runways. In addition, Baker is also developing an unmanned combat aircraft called Muizir Kızılelma. God willing, the first flight of Kızılelma will be next year, and TB3 later this year or early next year, said Selçuk Bayraktar, who was born in Istanbul and studied at the University of Pennsylvania and Massachusetts Institute of Technology. If you look at a longer time horizon, we are working on taxi drones. For that we need to develop a higher level of autonomy technology, which is essentially AI, but that will revolutionize the way people are transported in urban areas.